Little Johnny's Science Class, Misadventure 1. Bright morning, little Johnny's science teacher, Mrs. Parks, asked the class an intriguing question. Class, can anyone tell me which body part can increase up to 10 times its size when stimulated? The room went silent, and little Mary immediately raised her hand, glaring. Mrs. Parks, that's an inappropriate question. I'll tell my parents. They'll tell the principal, and you'll lose your job. Ignoring her outburst, Mrs. Parks asked again, does anyone else know the answer? Little Johnny's hand shot up. I know, but can I give my answer after I tell you what happened to my cat this morning? Mrs. Parks, caught off guard, nodded. All right, Johnny, go ahead. Well, Johnny began proudly, before school, I put some lighter fuel in my cat's water bowl to see if it would make him run faster. The class gasped. Johnny continued, after drinking it, my cat zoomed up the stairs, leapt over the bed, ran back down to the living room, climbed the curtains, and then, boom, he collapsed. Mrs. Parks was horrified. Oh no, Johnny, you killed your cat. No, Johnny said confidently. He didn't die, he just ran out of gas. The class erupted in laughter, and even Mrs. Parks cracked a smile. All right, Johnny, now can you answer the original question? Johnny grinned mischievously. Of course. The body part that increases 10 times its size when stimulated is the pupil of the eye. Mrs. Parks beamed. Very good, Johnny. She then turned to Mary, who sat red-faced and silent. As for you, Mary, I have 3 things to say. 1, you have a dirty mind. 2, you clearly didn't do your homework. And 3, one day you're going to be very, very disappointed. The class roared with laughter, and Johnny whispered to his friend, Best science class ever. Let me know if you'd like to tweak it further. Do we? Sure. Here's another unique and funny story. Little Johnny and the Balloon. Mystery one morning, little Johnny walked into class looking unusually happy. The teacher, curious about his cheerful mood, asked, Johnny, you seem excited today. Did something special happen? Johnny grinned and said, Yes, miss. I learned something amazing about balloons. The teacher, intrigued, replied, Oh, really? Tell us what you learned. Johnny stood up confidently. This morning I saw my dad blowing up balloons in the kitchen. I asked him why, and he said they were for my mom's birthday party. But then he got tired of blowing them up and used a pump instead. So I thought, why don't I test if other things can blow up balloons? The class leaned in with curiosity. Johnny continued, I poured some soda into a bottle, added vinegar, and dropped a balloon on top. It inflated all by itself. It was amazing. The teacher smiled and said, That's a great experiment, Johnny, but what made you so excited today? Well, Johnny said with a mischievous grin, I thought it might work on my cat. So I gave him some soda and vinegar too. Guess what happened? The class gasped. What happened, Johnny? Johnny beamed. My cat zoomed around the house like a furry rocket. He ran up the stairs, slid down the railing, bounced off the sofa, and finally landed in his bed with the balloon still tied to his tail. The teacher was horrified. Johnny, you can't do that to your cat. Oh, don't worry, Johnny said. He's fine now. He's just a little deflated. The class burst out laughing, and the teacher shook her head, trying not to laugh. All right, Johnny, let's leave your experiments to the lab next time. Johnny winked and said, Sure, miss. But next, I'm testing it on my little brother.